So, today we're going to unpack a really powerful story. It's about dreams, it's about survival, and, well, the bittersweet reality of success. And it all starts with a young girl from rural Anatolia.
This line, it just hits you right away. It really gets to the heart of our story. We're diving into the world of Azra, a young girl from a forgotten village where hope was probably the scarcest thing around. Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in this small Anatolian village, the kind of place the government only seems to remember when it needs more soldiers. It's a community that's just trapped. Trapped in this cycle of poverty, where a family with 6 kids, including our Azra, is just trying to survive day to day. So you have to imagine Azra is just a kid, and she's watching her family basically fall apart under all this pressure. Her 2 older brothers, they left for Germany to find work and just never came back. One sister married a wealthy man to get out, while another just ran away to Istanbul and disappeared. But even in all this darkness, Azra had a secret. Her escape was drawing. She'd secretly tear out the blank pages from her school notebooks just to create something. But here's the thing, even that tiny bit of joy was a luxury they couldn't afford. She'd get yelled at for wasting paper that was so precious. And this is where you really see the two worlds collide, right? Her reality was this constant hunger, this struggle. But on their tiny little TV, she saw a whole different universe, a world of art galleries and camera flashes. And she wasn't dreaming of the fancy clothes. No, she was dreaming of a day when something she created would finally be seen and maybe even valued. So things get even tighter. To save a little bit of money on school fees, Azra's family pulls her out of class. And just like that, she becomes a shepherdess. Now her days are spent totally alone on the mountains. I guess the one silver lining was that she could draw on rocks and in the dirt all she wanted without anyone scolding her. But one day, that lonely life takes a seriously terrifying turn. She's jolted awake by this vicious fight. Her dogs are battling a whole pack of wolves on the next hill. And then, just silence. An awful, long silence. She finally works up the courage to go see, and there they are, her loyal dogs, lying in pools of their own blood. Can you even imagine? You're standing there, completely frozen, and then a sound cuts through the air. The whistle of a train, one that almost never comes through here. But at that exact moment, she hears another sound, a low growl, right behind her. A single wolf, just watching her. And suddenly, that distant train becomes her only way out. And this is so important to remember. This wasn't some grand plan. This was pure gut-level survival. As the train slows down on a hill, she just runs. She runs from the wolf, scrambles onto an open cargo wagon, and in one impulsive, desperate leap, leaves everything she's ever known behind. So the train finally stops, and she's in Ankara, a huge, overwhelming city. She has no ID, no money, nothing but a few apples she swiped from a crate on the train. She is completely, totally, terrifyingly alone. And then, at her absolute lowest, just wandering these crazy streets, she sees it. Something she cannot believe. A man, just painting on a canvas, right there on the sidewalk. It's a scene straight out of her dreams, straight off that tiny TV screen back in her village. The artist, he sees this look in her eyes, this absolute awe. And he does something amazing. He just hands her a small canvas, his brushes, his actual oil paints. And for the very first time in her life, Azra isn't using scraps or rocks. She's using real tools. He watches her work, and when she's done, he just quietly places her little painting next to his own, for sale. So she's just sitting there, quietly eating one of her apples, when a customer stops. But he doesn't look at the experienced artist's paintings. He points right at Azra's little canvas, and he asks the question that is about to change her entire life. Before she can even react, the artist answers for her. 20 lira, he says, without even hesitating. The man pays, takes the painting, and just like that, for the very first time, Azra's art has actual, tangible value. The artist turns to this stunned young girl and holds out the money. It's yours, he says. Think about that for a second. This is a girl who has only ever been yelled at for wasting paper. And now someone has paid money for her art. This simple moment is a validation she probably never ever thought was possible. And that one sale? It's like a matchstick that lights up her entire future. Azra suddenly has a purpose, a path forward. that's going to take her from the anonymous city streets right to the very center of the art world.
So, the next few years are just this incredible transformation. The artist takes her in, becoming her mentor. He gets her into an art course so she can really learn technique and sharpen that raw talent. When she turns 18, she gets an official ID, finally making her a real citizen of this new world. And then he gives her the biggest opportunity yet. He asks her to go to a major exhibition in Istanbul and show her work in his place.
And in Istanbul, wow, her painting doesn't just sell, it sells for an absolute fortune. All of a sudden, Azra is living that life she saw on TV. She's attending her own exhibitions, people know her name, she has money, she has, by any definition you can think of, arrived.
But you know how it is. In the middle of all this success, all this excitement, there's that little voice in the back of your head, right? In this new, shiny life. What happened to the family she ran from, in a way, to try and save? She's haunted by it, so she pours everything, all her hope, her guilt, her triumph, into one last painting. It shows a small shepherd girl, but this time she's running towards the wolves. It's her story, and this painting, this is her gift, her proof to them that it was all worth it. With that painting in her hands, she gets on a train and finally goes home. But the home she comes back to, it's not the one she left. She finds out her paralyzed sister, Husnia, is gone. Her father? He died just 3 months ago. The triumphant return she dreamed of? It's not happening. She's come home to an empty house, a house haunted by loss. That gift, that beautiful painting, who is it for now? It's meaningless. She takes her masterpiece, walks all the way up to that same hill where her whole new life began, and she sets it on an easel. And then she just collapses on the ground and weeps for everything she gained and for everything she lost to get it.
And that's the gut punch of the whole story, isn't it? Her journey started with her running away from a wolf, this symbol of danger. But that very wolf led her to a fortune. In the end, though, it was the slower, quieter predators, time and poverty, that took the very family she was trying to save. And her story just leaves us with this really difficult question. Azra escaped. She achieved the dream she wanted so badly. But look at the price. It forces us to ask, for anyone who manages to break free from a life of hardship, what is the real cost of making your dream come true? And what do we end up sacrificing without even realizing it?